Hello, my luscious Libras. I nearly said Leos then, but I've done Leo. No, you're my Libras. My beautiful, emotional, stable, centered Libras. Look, I have to tell you, before we get going, that when I was laying out this spread, and the reason I don't, and for those of you who know me, I don't, when I'm shuffling to lay out a spread, I wait for the cards to fall. And so if I was to show you me shuffling, the videos would probably be 3 to 4 times as long as they are. So that's why I don't put it on. But as I was laying these out, I did the sun column first, which is spirit, you know, what you show the outside, all of that. The moon column was next, different deck, completely different deck, totally shuffled, waiting for the cards to fall out. And then the spirit column, again, different deck. If I had tried to design a layout for Libra for September, I could not have done this. I wouldn't have chosen it. I certainly wouldn't have laid it out like this. But when it came out, I just kept laughing at how clever spirit really is. You know. Anyway, on that note, let's dive in. The first week for the sun position is the 4 of Pentacles, or coins, depending on which deck it is. And this speaks of hoarding, holding on tight, not necessarily with finances, because the pentacles or the coins are the earth element, so it's very home, career, material situated. It's the 3D in its essence. The things you've got around you, your house, your career, all of that stuff, body. So it's about hanging on tight. Now, the other readings I've done have had such a strong emphasis on self this month and on looking into yourself. And I don't think this is going to be any different, because this man is hanging on so tight to whatever he thinks is valuable and important, that he's not allowing for any more to come in, for the old to fall away, or to give it, to share it. It's a very fear-based card. And underneath that is, in the shadow position, the 2 of shells. Now, this is in a standard tarot, the 2 of cups. And it's traditionally the minor arcana lovers card. And I think the reason in the sun position you are hanging on so tightly to the external, to the positions, to the assets, to the material possessions, is because in your shadow life, underneath it all, you are lacking. And you see yourself This is what you are keeping hidden. It's not even subconscious in this position. It is what you are keeping hidden from the world. And you feel that this is what you are lacking, and that is why you are hanging on so tight to the things you can control and you can hang on to. Now, I was a bit sad when I saw that, but when I pulled out the advice card, I want to read it to you because most of them I don't need to read, but when I read this one, I had a feeling that I understood it in relation to this spread. And if you'll note, the number is a 2 and a 9, which is an 11. And I love my 11s. But I had this urge to read it. And I'm going to read it to you because I can't do it justice. It's probably the best advice card I've pulled. And I'm just trying to... Here you go. As you sense yourself moving and shifting from light to dark and back again, from knowing to unknowing, you are weaving your consciousness, your divinity into sacred expression, manifesting your soul essence into the form of your life. Threading the light through the darkness without even realizing you are doing it, you are gently impregnating the matter of your body, of your light, with light. Your body and your life become luminous, radiant, and you assist others even through your presence. It sounds wonderful, and it is, yet it is not always an easy path. As the light travels through darkness, pain and suffering can arise in waves. Best to be present to it, trust that it is not a permanent condition, and wait for the spiral to twist from dark to light again, always moving closer and closer to the purity of the center and expanding outward eternally as though you are being inhaled by the divine, filling cosmic lungs as they reach far and wide, taking in all life. The message of this oracle to you is that you are growing. You are bringing more of your light into form. You may be meeting obstacles in yourself and in the world, but this is because you are bringing through the light. If there were nothing happening, there would be no obstacle. Bless them as signs that you are proceeding and empower them no more. You shall be. All else is just divine timing. I just thought that was so beautiful and perfect in the path that we're walking, because when we walk the light path, we think it's supposed to be light and easy, and once we know we're on it, it's all systems go and beautiful, but it's not. It's hard work, and that's why so many choose not to do it. But as I said in my very first introduction video, it's so worth it. It's so very worth it, so keep going. Now this is where it gets funky. In the first week, you've got the 4 of coins, 4 of pentacles, followed by the 2 of shells underneath it. External, internal. In the second week, you've got the 2 of cups, external, which is the previous card, the 2 of shells. It's exactly the same card, different deck. And in the shadow side, you've got the 4 of crystals, which is the first card, the 4 of coins. Different deck. So from week 1 to week 2, you've completely flipped it on its head. You've gone from scrimping, scraping, hanging on tight, grasping tight, to the external to cover up for the lack you are feeling on the internal, to sharing the love on the external and keeping your security on the internal. And this is part of the process. This is all part of the process. It can be like a pendulum. So you're over here and you decide, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to let people cross my boundaries anymore. So instead of coming down gently into the center and learning it, you swing over to the other side and you say, I'm not going to let you do that to me anymore. You always do that. You can get out of my way. I'm not listening to you anymore. You've crossed my boundaries. It doesn't work that way, but eventually, if you keep going, sorry about the hands, you will swing down into the middle. So this is what you're working at in the first 2 weeks. Because once you start working on yourself and you get more self-confidence and more self-worth, inner self-worth, then you run the risk of trying to control that and hang on to it because it's been so hard fought for and so hard won. And you've done really well in the first 2 weeks. You've swapped it around, so you're able to share more love on the external, be more generous. The challenge for week 2 is to be grateful for the strides you've made, but not to grasp it as if you're going to lose it, because once you've got it, you can't lose it. You know, that's where the advice comes in for week 2. And this is the breaking. It doesn't really need much expression, much explanation. It comes when that fear steps in and it has to be cracked. Once you start discovering this stuff, if you take baby steps, you might feel safe, but the best way to do it is to go to the core of your fear and your self-worth, which is usually lacking, and to let yourself break open. Release all the masks, all the barriers, all the blockages, all the walls you've put up, all the beliefs you've created based on other people's opinions of you. And to grieve the loss of your purity and innocence that you had as a child. By doing that, it takes immense courage and bravery, but the freedom you feel afterwards and the courage you find in yourself and the inner strength you develop from realizing that the fear you've been living in has been keeping you trapped all that time, you can breathe. You can breathe again. And that just flows into the 3rd week. Now, on the external, on the sun side, it's the 6 of Cups, again, an emotional related card, feelings and stuff. And it talks about reminiscing, going back into your past. Sometimes it can talk about someone coming back from your past, but this is real self work. So it talks about going back into your past, and that can be, you know, sometimes when we go through what I'll call the breaking, we can only focus on the harm and the damage. But if we look, once we've let ourselves feel what we weren't allowed to feel, we release that. If we do it in a healthy manner, we release it, we let it go. So it's no longer carried with us, which frees us up to look at what we actually gained. Because in a lot of situations, we gained an awful lot. I'm very grateful for all the challenges I've been through because it's made me who I am, and it taught me lessons I would never have learnt otherwise. And this to me is a beautiful card because it just reminds me of what's really important. If you look at this child, she's daydreaming, she's happy, she's lying in the grass. You know, it's just beautiful and it's simple. There's no knots around it. There's no rules. It's simple. It's just simple. And that's a wonderful place that you can go back to anytime you need to. Underneath that, in the moon position, is one of my all-time favourite cards. It's the Magician. And it's a number 1 card with the infinity symbol. So, you know, one's a fresh beginnings and infinity is the eternal. And the Magician speaks of unlimited ability to create your own reality. It is the Master Manifester card. You have everything at your disposal. And I think in this situation, this is unseen by you. You are not aware of this yet. But by going back and releasing the knots, untying the knots, I'm really surprised there's not an 8 of Swords in here. Letting it go, you will discover your inner worth, your innate worthiness, that you are enough. You have all the abilities you need within yourself. You are the creator. And you create through, you manifest through your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs, what you put out. And that can be consciously or unconsciously. So this is there waiting for you to discover. It's quite exciting. It's really quite exciting. Don't look at this spread with fear, whatever you do. Look at it as an exciting month. It's a really exciting month because this is going to be, talk about progress with a rocket. You're going to go whoosh through like stuff that takes people months or years to go through. You're just going to power through it. And you're not going to be alone. You're going to have support. Back here, back in week 1, by hanging on so tight and not letting anybody in, you are blocking so much love and support that you don't even know exists. It is there at your disposal and you are blocking it out of fear. You don't even know it exists. Oh. Sorry, I just got the most incredible burst of heartburn. It's as if they're saying, we have it here. We have an abundance of warmth and love and passion to fill you and to show you you're not alone. But we can't release it. You need to allow us in to show you how supported you really are. That's your advice for week 3. You don't have to do it alone. It's all there. The 4th week in September is the 5 of Cups. And this is, every time I see this, in any deck, I get crying over spilt milk. And it comes back to hanging on too tight and not letting stuff around you go. You are going to crush what positives you have, and you are going to continue to step on the broken glass of things that harm you. And it is completely and utterly unnecessary. You have the power in the magician and your innocence to step out of that glass and be okay with two. You don't need all that other stuff. You don't need to hang on so tight. Let it go. Step out of the glass. You're the only one sitting there. You're the only one living in that misery. And I don't know about you, but I choose this person, not this one. I've been here, done that, got the t-shirt, and instead of feeling like I couldn't move forward, I went back. And I found the sun again. I found the innocence again. I found the little girl who was so happy in who she was because she didn't think about it. She didn't worry about it. She just was. So stand up, wipe your eyes, put the glasses down that are all broken and step out of them. That's not you. It's bullshit. It's crap. And if it wasn't crap, they wouldn't have broken in the first place. So they're obviously cheap ass, plastic crap beliefs that you don't need anymore. It's bullshit. Stand up, wash your eyes, and go and fill them up and have a drink. Drink out of the ones you've got. Be grateful for what you've got. Let the fear go. Now, this is where Spirit gets funky again, because in the first week, the third week, we've got the Six of Cups, and the last week, we've got the Six of Cups again. So, you know, I don't know how to say it any clearer. You have everything at your fingertips, but you're looking in the wrong direction. You're looking at the external, trapped by other people's beliefs, clinging on to what you think makes you important. And instead of trying to go forward and see where you go from now, go back, find out who you really were. I mean, look at this. Seriously, the other thing. 2 otters. Like 2 cards with otters. Seriously? You've got repeating numbers all over the place. These 2 add up to 11. You've got 2 lots of 2s, 2 lots of 4s, 2 lots of 6s, a 44 here. I mean, the signs are, it's crystal. You are in full control of your life. You are looking in the wrong direction. Go back, find your original spirit, your original soul before they got fucked up by misbeliefs, and rewrite the rings of time. You have the ability. You have the ability to go back and rewrite history based on who you truly were. And if you don't know who you truly were, spend some time with that kid. They're pretty funky. They'll show you. They'll talk to you. Kids talk to anybody. And be nice to that child because that's what they needed. That's who you really are. And that will undo so much bullshit that you will see the light that you always carried that you've just hidden. So it is absolutely beautiful. It's just, I can see it. I can just see it. There's light everywhere. But again, it's not going to come without grief or heartbreak. Because that is what it is. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we develop. And it's all happening perfectly. Don't fight the breaking. Don't fight the grief. Be okay with not being okay for a little while. And then you'll find your okay is quite simple. Now, at the end of each reading, I like to end on a slightly light note because all of them have been pretty heavy with self-work. September's an awesome month this month, and I mean that genuinely because, you know, every time I feel like I'm butting up against a challenge, I kind of go, oh, okay, this is good for me. I'm learning. And I'm growing and I'm moving on. What do I need to know? What do I need to learn? Anyway, so at the end of each reading, I'm letting the Rebel deck give its own little piece of wonderful advice. Now, if you're sensitive and you don't like swear words, I will not be offended if you turn off now, but when I first picked these up and shuffled, this one fell straight out. You are giving away your power. And spoken like the true magician, it says, you are a badass. You're a badass. Act like it. Like, go Libra. Seriously? Go for it. Instead of standing there gently with your balance and you considering everybody else and wah, spin around so that they spin around and knock any bastard out of the way, including your own beliefs and crap that you've been carrying, and send them flying. And then when you settle down again, you'll be far more in balance and zen. Get your zen on. And a box of tissues. And say hello to the magpies. If you see a magpie, say thank you, because that's reinforcement. Anyway, my loves, lovely, lovely Libras. I love Libras. All right, much love. Thank you for watching. And let me know if it resonates with you. And I'll see you next month. As always, love and hugs and kisses.